Alright guys, welcome to another lesson in my Piano Lessons Gone Nuts series where I'm answering viewer questions about music in general, piano playing. And this lesson will be on how to figure out what any chord is. Okay, you'll be able to figure out any chord by the letters that you're playing. Let me show you what I mean. Because you like to know what chord you're playing, right? A lot of you ask, what chord is this? Tell me what the chords are. Well, you can figure this out yourself. Alright? Now let me explain some things first. Chords are built on what's called tertian harmony. That means we're built in thirds. If I take a basic C, E, G chord, okay, and I wrote my alphabet out here, okay, and I start with a C, tertian harmony means it's built on thirds. So you have a letter, skip a letter, letter, skip a letter, letter. So we have C, E, G, and you can see that easily on the keyboard. That's how we have a C chord. It's built in thirds. If I had a four-note chord, then the next letter would be what? Not an A, it would be a B, because it's built on tertian harmony. Now I can flat or sharp any of the notes I want. I can sharp the C. I can flat the B. It doesn't matter where the flats and sharps or naturals are. It matters what the letters are. That will determine what the chord is, what the letters are. Okay? So we could take another chord, an F chord. F, skip a letter, A, skip a letter, C, skip a letter, E. We could even add another note, skip a letter, G. We could put a flat on the E. Okay, an F chord. I can put flats or sharps wherever, but it's still an F chord because of the tertian harmony, okay? So it's letter, skip a letter, letter. That's the formula for creating a chord. It's very mathematical. Music is full of math, believe it or not. Now, let's hear some examples here for you to figure out a chord. Here's the easiest one. If you're playing a chord, B, D, G, and you go, oh, what chord is that? Somebody goes, oh, that's a B chord, because they say the bottom note is the name of the chord. No, it's only the name of the bottom note if the chord is in root position, if it's in that, what I just showed you, where it's that nice, neat third position. This is not in thirds. Look, B, there's the third for D, but G is a fourth away. So that's not in what we call root position, nice root position. Okay, so we've got to figure out what it is. Well, to figure out what it is, you've got to unscramble these letters to make them fit tertian harmony. So we know the B is not right. It's not a B chord. So let's see if it's a D chord, because it's got to be one of these letters, right? Is it a D chord? Well, D chord would be D, F, A. Nope, that doesn't fit our formula. Well, let's only leaves G. Let's try G. G, skip a letter B, skip a letter D. Ah, it's a G chord. So that one is a G chord. So there's our mystery chord. That was an easy one. You may have already known that, but you need to know why it's a G chord. Okay? Now, let me show you something. In the left hand, I can play a G, or I can play a B, or I can play a D. It does not change the chord. It's still a G chord. It's just an inversion. Okay? If the bass note is on a G, we call it just root position. If it was on a B, we call it a G6, or a G in first inversion. Okay, if it's on a D, we call it a G6-4, or a pedal G, or a G chord with a pedal D. Alright, that's where the fifth is on the bottom. So it does not matter which note is on the bottom, it matters what the letters are and putting them in the right order, okay? Now, we're going to go on to the next one here, but I want to stress that you know what's called the Triad Vocabulary. And the triad vocabulary is this: A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D. Now, what I did is I named the chords A, C, E, then I go to B, D, F, C, E, G. You need to have that burned into your memory so that when you see those three letters together, you go, oh, G, B, D. You don't have to think about it. There's only 7, guys, okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Memorize. A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D. And that's it. I can put flats or sharps anywhere I want, but those are the only 7 3-note root position chords, okay? So make sure that that's part of your study, is that you trying to memorize what's called the Triad Vocabulary. There's 7 of them. Now, let's look at the next exercise here. We have F, A, C, D. It's scrambled. It's mixed up. Okay, what's the chord? Say, oh, it's an F chord. Now, there's an argument for that. You could call it an F chord with a 6, but we're not going to get involved like that. We're going to look at it and unscramble notes. Okay? It's not F, A, C, D, because F, A, C. There's a triad, but the D ruins the pattern. So it's not. We're not going to call it an F chord. We call it an A chord. Well, let's see. A, C, E, and then G would be the next one. Nope, doesn't fit. How about C chord? C, E, G, B. Nope, that doesn't fit. How about D? Let's try D. D, F, A, C. That works. Ha! So it's a D minor 7, and we call it a 7. Okay, it's D minor 7, so I'm going to put a D and an M and a 7. If you were a theory major, you'd write a lowercase d. I taught theory, or tutored theory in college for a long time. D minor 7, DM7. But the D minor, DFA, and it's a 7th because the root is here. The 3rd away from the root is the 3rd. The 5th is a 5th away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how the F was a 3rd, 1, 2, 3, and the A is a 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the C is a 7th, 1, 3, 5, 7 thirds. Okay? So the C is a 7th away from the D. That's why we call it a D minor 7. It doesn't matter that the notes are all mixed up and scrambled. You unscramble it to see what the name of the chord is. But if you know chords very well, you can do this. And you can just play D minor 7s all over the place once you really know your chords. All right, let's get to the next one. Here's a tricky one. G, B, E, G. What do you notice about that? There's 2 G's. Does that make a difference? It does not make a difference. You can double notes, that does not change the chord. Okay? So you can double a note, doesn't make any difference. So that's a 4-note chord. No, it's not. It's a 3-note chord with a G doubled. Okay, so what's the chord? Let's just look at G, B, E. Okay, that doesn't work because it's not in our, because you have a 4th there between B and E. How about a B chord? Is it B, D, F? Nope. How about E? Yes, E, G, B, D. E, G, B. So we have E, G, B, that's an E minor. So I'll put E and then an M. I'm going to do a lesson on how to tell the difference between major and minor. So if you don't know that, we'll do that as well. E, G, B is E minor. So that's an E minor chord. Okay? Now here's the last one. I made the most complicated. We have D, E, G, B, C. Wow, that's a neat sounding chord. Let's figure out what it is. Is it D? D, F, A, C. Nope, that doesn't fit. Is it E? E, G, B, D. Ooh, that looks good. Oh, F. Doesn't fit. Almost worked, didn't it? How about G? G, B, D. Oh, that's working. F, no. How about B? B, D, F, no. How about C? C, E, G, B, D. That works. Listen to that. I can flat the B. And that's a nice chord there. You say, well, what is that chord? Well, it's a C7. I'm going to play it the B flat because I just like that sound. Remember, it doesn't change the name of the chord or the letter, the root note. C, E, G, B flat. D, let's call it C9. It's a C, a minor 7 with a 9 on top. So that'd be a C9. But the point is, and let's just leave it natural for you. Okay? Alright, we'll call that a C9. I could get more complicated here, but I'm not going to do this to those of you who go, oh, you need a minor 7 in there. Okay, I know that. But I'm just trying to explain to people the tertian harmony, okay? How to figure out the root position, the root name of the chord. So C9. Now here's the kicker. Sometimes when you get really complicated chords, there'll be notes that are left out in the chord. And we're not going to get into that here, but if you find a real complicated chord and you can't make it work in this formula, that's what's happening, is some of the notes are left out. Like if I do this, I left out the G, okay? It's still a C9, even though I left out the G, it's not there, but that's still what the chord is. It's just understood that it could be in there, okay? So we can get complicated, we can have exceptions to the rules. This is just a basic understanding of how to figure out what the names of chords are, okay? Hope you guys enjoy that.